Hey, this is Jeff again, the Vol Adventures, ReGuideService.com, ReiguideService.com. I want to make a real quick video and talk about how to get your trades to do work in the most efficient way possible. I've done a video about this before, but I wanted something with a little bit more visuals to help you out. So how to get trades. First of all, you're going to have to walk properties. The only way you can get what you need is by walking it. Tape measure, make sure you know the dimensions of each room. You don't have to have a perfect layout and a perfect map, but if you have, rectangles, squares, and, the dimensions, how long each one is, how many windows are in each room, the size of the windows, the more you can document, the better when you're walking it. Okay, so get the information on the property. The more information you can get, the better. Then you're going to have to come up with a scope and a timeline. And the way that you do that is the scope of work is real easy. What all do you want done? You don't need to know all of the details of exactly how it gets done. But if you need a kitchen sink moved from point A to point B, the scope of work would just say move kitchen sink from point A to point B. If you need a restroom on the second floor added, you would say restroom added second floor. Those kind of things are the scope of work. Now, you can get more detailed in that scope of work, and that's what you're going to want to do is kind of break it down into how detailed do you want to be. Now, if you're looking at hiring a general contractor, that's pretty much the end of the line. You can say, hey, this is what I need done. I need a bathroom put in this second floor. I need this sink moved over. I need, these things done. That's the general scope of work. That's the advantage of hiring a GC, is you can be very generalistic about it. And then you can say, here's kind of what the bid package that I'm looking for, and you're going to include that scope of work. And in that bid package, you're going to include some of those documents, some of those photos, the measurements, all the information that you can give that GC in a package. Or if it's the individual trade, you're going to have to break down the scope of work a little bit more. Like if you're going to be emailing just plumbers, which is what trades or general contractors will typically do, and what I do if I'm acting like the general contractor, is I'll actually break it down so that I have the scope of work for plumbing. So I'm going to tell the plumber I'm going to have 6 fixtures and a second floor bath. Here's how far the run is. Here how far the drain is. There's a straight shot from the vent or for the vent pipes. You're not going to have to box that in or anything. So I'm going to know all that information, being that I can fulfill that. But if you're just getting GCs to do the work, or maybe you don't know as much and you say, hey, here's what the bathroom looks like and I'd like to add this, you can give them as much information as you possibly can. The more information you get, the more accurate it's going to be, and the less conversations, the less questions there's going to be. But at the end of the day, just giving them as much information as you can provide, and there's a lot of that you can provide. You can provide measurements, pictures, and kind of a general description of what you want done, the details of how you want it done. Maybe there's some things you didn't know to look at or to find out about, and that's just going to take time and experience for you to learn. But get back to this is you take that bid package of all that information that you've gathered, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to determine what the requirements are. So if the GCs have to be at this certain level, A, B, C, quality kind of contractor, what kind of response, what kind of amount of crews? Are you looking for a guy that shows up with a bunch of different dudes that kind of do everything, or are you looking for a real general contractor that has a bunch of different trades on staff, or someone that hires a bunch of trades and subcontract all that work out? What kind of GC are you looking for? What kind of requirements? What kind of insurance are they going to have? Are they going to have $1 million general liability insurance, and they're going to have bonds because of the city that you're in? And what are the requirements? And then what you're going to do is you're going to find those on the internet, right? Which is a lot easier than it used to be. You used to have to look that up in the yellow pages and then call them and ask them what they had. Now you can just look it up and get their email, send them an email with this bid package with a little introduction. Hey, this is what I'm looking to do. This is about my timeline of when I want to do it. Here's the deadline of when I would like to have a response if you can fulfill this need of this bid package. So with a general contractor, that bid package would say, hey, here's the project, here's what I have, here's what I want done. I've looked up, seen that you're qualified to do the job for me. What I'm looking for is if you can do this description of work in this timeline for this budget. And what you want to do is you want to give them the maximum budget that you have. So even if you have like $50,000 that you could spend and you really want to stay at like 40,000, then just say 40,000, right? And that's what your budget is. And say, I want everything done, the highest quality possible, let me know what you can do with this budget. And then if there's things that you want to add in later, you can have that opportunity. But to not tell someone what your budget is and ask them to do a job is kind of unreasonable. I mean, there's sometimes that you're just not going to know at all, and that's fine also, but you can get a very general idea by looking on the internet. There's a bunch of different websites that offer general information about like how much it costs per linear foot for a fence, or how much it costs, to have tile installed, or wood flooring, or countertops. There's a lot of places that you can find that general information. And if this is something that you're going to be doing on a repeated basis, it's going to be something that you're going to want to become accustomed to doing anyway. So if you kind of have an idea of what it is that you're looking for and you email that out, you give them a deadline of when they need to have that done. Then when you get all those back, you can compare it, because you know that you've asked them to provide a copy of their insurance and all of their proof of eligibility to show that they can actually do the things that you thought that they could do because they're qualified. Compare all of that and then go with the one that you feel the most comfortable with, the one that was the easiest to communicate with, the one that answered the phone when you called them up, and figure out which one is going to be the one for you to communicate with in the most productive way possible for yourself. Because if you get 2 or 3 plumbers, 2 or 3 electricians, 2 or 3 contractors, if you get 2 or 3 of these people that you can work with on a regular basis, if you're in the business of flipping properties or buying hold properties or being a landlord, property management, whatever it is, the faster that you can get real relationships with these people, you're not going to get necessarily a discount, but you're going to get the pricing based on how easy it is to work with you. If you're a very easy person to work with and people aren't having to jump through hoops and do all this extra BS, and maybe they'll get it, maybe they won't. If you're just an easy client and you're easy to work with, people are going to give you a discount, not because they're giving you a discount because they like you. They're giving you a discount because they're not having to charge you for all the extra bullshit. There's an extra bullshit fee in dealing with most clients. And if you don't require all that extra bullshit, then you're going to get that discount, especially if you're bringing repeat business. You're not asking for discounts. So you want to build relationships with people by knowing, exactly what it is, because you've already walked the property. You've already well documented, showing that you're invested in, the right information being there in the property, right? It's just a matter of reading a tape measure. Scope of work and timeline. If you're buying a property for an investment, you're going to know what your timeline is. You're going to have a general idea. Even if you don't know exactly how to go about it, you know the general sense of, hey, I want to take out this wall. Do you know that you need a land beam across it? Is it load bearing? All that. You don't need to know that. Should you know that? Is it good that eventually you know that? Absolutely. But to get started and do things the right way, you don't have to know the description and details on every little solitary thing in order to start working like a professional in the professional capacity. Put together your bid package. Make sure that you're only sending it to people that you feel are already qualified. Do your research, right? You're the professional. You're the expert. You're handling all this. The way to do that in an expert way is to reach out to people that are only fulfilling those requirements. Email them. Put a deadline on it. Hold that deadline. Make sure that if people can't get you bids back by the time they say that they can, well, then they're probably not going to be able to deliver a project in the time that they say they can. So keep that in mind. Compare, verify, trust but verify, of course. Make sure that they send you all the documents to verify so you're protecting yourself. There's some other videos that I have on and documentation on my website, reguideservice.com, on what it is that you might want to look at beyond these things that we've talked about when hiring trades to qualify them. You'll have to go watch that or read that. Anyway, be blessed, bless others, reguideservice.com, reiguideservice.com. If there's anything I can do to help you learn how to put this together better, or if you have too big of a project and you need someone to do all of this for you, feel free to reach out as well. reguideservice.com.